Two things. There's a false dichotomy. It's not one or the other. It is a fantastic store of value that we all know and all have greatly benefited from. And it's also a wonderful medium of exchange. And the technology that's behind it is transformative. It's just more and more apps that are interested in adding Bitcoin, which is great. And business owners have 1,001 things to think of. If you've just made one part of their life easier, maybe they love you, right? That's it. They're like...
Hello and welcome back to the Ordermoon channel. And today, Nasco and I have a very special guest indeed. Yes, welcome Danny from Breeze. Hi Danny, how's it going?
Hi folks, I'm doing good. Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny, an Englishman in New York. That reminds me of a song. So, Danny, you should be doing the presenting actually, because I've just heard, if you're English, you'll understand the show or know the show called Pointless, of which Danny took a starring role. So we'll maybe talk about it another time. But
yeah, go back down the glory years of my short but fun TV career, dressed as a national treasure.
There you go. Okay,
but it's a great journey from Pointless to Breeze.
This is it. All the puns. I even got married with my partner from there, so technically a pointless marriage. We got it all right.
You met her on set, did you?
Yeah, this is it. Yes, both on the team, and then now what is it? 13 years later, we've got a kid, and we live in New York. Work that one out.
That's life, as they say.
Right.
Okay, so one of the main objectives with our show is to educate ourselves and all the good folks, the millions watching our podcast, about circular economies and the use of actually transitioning as many people as possible from the use of Bitcoin as a store of value to a medium of exchange, something that you can actually use to buy stuff. And of course, as many of you know, and Danny knows very well, we at Ordermoon have integrated the SDK from Breeze, and that's worked like a breeze for us and pushing us forward. So with that in mind, Danny, maybe you can give some examples where Breeze is helping doing something not necessarily the same or maybe similar to what we're doing in Bulgaria with the Breeze SDK, but actually how are you finding it with some of your partners, and how are they using the SDK to actually get Lightning usage up?
Yeah. So and thanks for having me on, guys. So I'm really looking forward to chatting about this, and obviously I'm a big fan of Ordermoon, and what you guys are doing in Bulgaria is fascinating. In fact, after our chat that we just recently done, I've started going down a rabbit hole of what's happening in the country, and the fact that you guys were 21 restaurants so far. I think that's I mean, obviously you have others in the business, but 21 on the Bitcoin standard is fantastic. So I think you can probably take it back even to the main premise, right? Which is, what's the utility of Bitcoin? And Bitcoin is two things. There's a false dichotomy. It's not one or the other. It is a fantastic store of value that we all know and all have greatly benefited from. And it's also a wonderful medium of exchange. And the technology that's behind it is transformative. And I think maybe because of the tribalistic nature of Bitcoin, that there's one camp or the other. And Roy did a fantastic piece on this false dichotomy. And the reason I'm taking this to that level is because, what are we doing at Breeze, right? And we at Breeze believe that essentially, whilst it is a fantastic store of value, this technology is transformative, and we think people are kind of missing the wider picture that I think you guys have already gone down, and I think many more are following, which is that value must move like information ultimately, right? And it's not about payments. Payments is such a fiat thinking mindset. Like this technology is transformative and can open up this whole new world. And so what we're doing at Breeze is to help this kind of supercharge it. It's bringing Bitcoin to every app. We want to see Bitcoin in every single app. We don't want it Like 10 a penny wallets. Wallets are great, but the real thing is adding that utility, that function that you need. And now that can be moving value via restaurants. That can be moving value for food, but it also could be sending value for a creator or sending value to stream payments. It is unlimited. And if we think about the way that we move value in the current world, the one that's closest to Bitcoin actually is cash. Cash moves without inhibition from one person to the next. But actually in our online world or our digital world in which we live so much time now, you have to go through an intermediary, and then that's just not acceptable, right? And so the reason I'm kind of going in this long tangent here is that's what Breez is doing. We want to bring this transformative technology to every single app, and we want to see the utility of Bitcoin not only be a store of value, but be that strong medium of exchange. And we did a report earlier in the year on Bitcoin in this transition, and you guys helped with some of the research that I actually did with that, which I'm really grateful for. And that's kind of where we're going with it. So Bitcoin in every app, and we're seeing anything from, I think we actually did a post today, we're seeing people create meme-inspired Gen Z wallets with the SDK, from bringing Bitcoin to every restaurant with you guys, and then going, off on a kind of tangent again, is that you've got, guys in the crypto world that are bringing Bitcoin to their application because they need that utility. They want to get involved in this $1 trillion ecosystem. So there's so many use cases, but that's the drive of Breez at the moment.
Yeah, you mentioned, I didn't actually see it, so forgive me. You said a meme-driven app that it's in. Wow.
Yeah. So Pavlinex did a bounty challenge experiment called Skibidi.cash, and it basically got developers to produce Gen Z, Gen Alpha wallets with like memes and stuff like that. And it's not a project that we were involved in or a bounty, but basically people used the SDK because it is, and this isn't me just shilling it, it's one of the easiest ways to add Bitcoin to any application, period. And so one of the winners, in fact, did this Gen Z wallet in which there's a quest for the onboarding journey for your seed phrase. It's stuff like that. And that's the kind of world, you can go from that to the next minute. I can talk to you about how we're bringing, I think it was a sushi restaurant, one of the restaurants that are on your platform. Next minute, the SDK is benefiting from that. And probably I should go back quickly, is that's what Breez is. Breez is traditionally seen as, maybe in the Bitcoin community, as that Lightning wallet that people used all those years ago, right? And we're way beyond that now. That was the test to see whether Lightning could do it, and it could. And then from there, we've created this technology to help builders. And that's the main thing to drive the circular economy, is drive the builders to create the applications. Because if you win the devs, you win the world, because they're the guys that are going to be building all the things that power the future. So that's kind of what we're on at the moment.
Win the devs, win the world. Well, I like that.
You can tell I'm British, right? That's a terrible word.
Brilliant. So Nasca, do you want to step in?
Well, of course. We've been dealing with quite a few restaurants up and down. And just to confirm what you just said is, if you are building a circular economy, and that's true for every single circular economy around the world. So let's say in Netherlands, in Arnhem, they used one Lightning app. You go to Portugal and Madeira, they use another app as well. So setting up, installing a new app into the owner's phone is a big challenge. And this is what we've seen. And you need to take that person and tell her, okay, you need to store the words, because we are the Bitcoiners. We do want to self-custody. We do not want to pass the coins to someone else. Of course, Wallet of Satoshi is one of the quickest one to do the job in that sense. But having that addition to what we have here in our circular economy or our economy in the beginning. It was the fiat service in general. Gave us a lot of power because they know us, they know the app, they're using the app for more than a year already, or to some of them 2 years or 3 years, and suddenly they see the Bitcoin button there. And I think this, you do not need any introduction to Bitcoin in that sense. It's just pop-ups there, and it can store your Bitcoin. You can start accepting Bitcoin. So it is a powerful thing at the end of the day.
I think you're on the money there, and I think it goes to again, maybe what I said at the start, is Bitcoin inside every app, right? The reason that that's important is the way that, if we look at payments in general, the payment experience has been siloed to this other experience within whatever you do utility-wise. And that's because it's forcing you to use a third party. It's always bringing you that way. In other traditions, in other ways, you could, just accept value and move it like that. So bringing in kind of that concept there, that's why it's so important that Bitcoin is within inside this experience. It's almost, we separated church and state. We separated, if we want to set money from state. It's kind of this like bringing the payment experience back in. And payments, again, it's very fiat thinking. It's not it's a developed legacy tech, and it's hard to shift away from it. You still have moments where you think about it. And the reason I'm going down this track is because the reason that you get someone to download another app and download this and download that, it's friction. No one wants it. Like Bitcoiners can tell you on everything it's done to change their life, and then suddenly tell you about what steak they eat and what beef tallow they buy. Yeah, cool. The real thing is, how do you get mass market? How do you get everyone to do it? And it has to be seamless, because there's a reason that my grandparents, they use FaceTime and they can use Instagram and they can use all of those because the UX is amazing. Whether the guys behind it are good or not, it's up to them. But like that ease of use, right? And so what you guys have done, and why those restaurants are enjoying that experience, is because you've reduced that barrier of entry. Yep. You've made it just a button. You self custody, yeah, done, cool. Like, do I need to learn about the financial system? Do I need to learn about your sound money? No, I can learn about those later. And of course, they're parts of the journey of like where you kind of go with it. But what you guys are doing, the reason those business owners have 1,001 things to think of. If you've just made one part of their life easier, maybe they love you, right? That's it. They're like, you're the guy, right?
Absolutely.
I was even thinking when we push this self-custodial solution to them, they don't realize that yet because they are too fresh to be in the market in the Bitcoin space. But it probably pays off once they start learning. And they'll say, in the first place, these guys came up with the right product. So they've been even thinking about that, because a lot of people have started from the exchanges. They started accumulating Bitcoin on the exchange. So they passed that, say, okay, I want to self-custody that. And coming now to the age where we go to a restaurant and we immediately say, this is the best thing you can start with. So there is no other option. And probably later down the line, they'll thank you for this. So we hope so. They'll start understanding. So this was in the very beginning, we were taught with the right practice and to store the Bitcoin for ourselves. But I had another question. What's your you are living in New York. What's the current, let's say, culture of spending Bitcoin? We know about the pub key, but what else is happening there? What's happening in New York? What are you seeing?
Funny enough, very cool. My local coffee shop, Solid State Coffee, which is a fantastic cup of coffee. I spoke to the owner, just was chatting and found out he was a Bitcoiner. And then found out that he wanted to get Bitcoin payments. And nothing to do with me. Daniel from PubKey and James, the owner, they're the people that did it. But that recently set up. But this talk more generally about the US, the US in general. is the primary or largest media voice and narrative voice for the Bitcoin community. I would say that's rightly or wrongly. I think that can be said, and I think that reverberates around the world. The blockers you have here, people outside, me being outside and coming to the US and understanding the way this country kind of works, and now lived there nearly a decade. That capital gains tax is a killer, and that's the mindset shift. If you wanted a policy decision to affect or kneecap the success of medium of exchange, genius policy. Like it's a blocker. No one likes tax issues, right? And so that, therefore, mindset lets that culture be, hey, it's an asset, I trade it, which is why there's been a lot of success when it comes to exchanges. And again, why does that reverberate? Is that, as we know, it's a great store of value. The increased value, that it all kind of is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's the kind of narrative. Store of value is a primary narrative. There are great communities around the country that are doing stuff. There are great places. But I'm going to say there's work to be done. And I think that's because we've got to bring it into the experience. I think most people think payments means buy a cup of coffee. And again, I even did it at the start. But that's not just it. It's bringing it into the experiences we use every day, messaging apps, emails, even video conferencing, gaming. There's so much. And so that's where it will naturally go. How do we tackle that? I think there's some really interesting policy decisions that happen in other countries. I think Germany taxes it as a private currency, which I think is a really positive piece of regulation. I know that a lot of people are like, every regulation goes, etc. But cool, we're in the real world, and unfortunately, or fortunately, you've got to play by the rules. So there's got to be some rules that are there, and those are one of them. And I think that's a good policy that we could have. That's something that's been brought up by Senator Lummis and Gillibrand before as well, and that can really change things. However, the US narrative is number goes up, and that needs to change. And we're building the tools to give them to developers to change that opinion, because this used the example of ride sharing or home, renting your home. In the last decade, we've had unfathomable shifts in that world, right? I.e., the fact that I could just walk into someone's car and just hail it and off I go. Like New Yorkers, hands on the street yelling taxi. That's now on the phone tapping it. Likewise, renting apartments. So what I'm trying to say there is, once you've got to the experience, you have the cultural shift. So there's two things, right? There's regulation and there's building. And if we can get those two together, then it's magic. But yeah, and then obviously we have our home country in the UK, which has a totally different opinion right now, which is very aggressive towards Bitcoin. And this, I don't know about you, Lance, but when I see what's happening in the UK, I'm still very passionate about my home country, and I find it very disappointing that it has an opportunity post-Brexit to define what it wants to be, and it's possibly choosing to do nothing on that matter.
Yeah, I agree. We won't go down politics or anything like that, but we just don't have particularly technically savvy people who are politicians at the moment. There are one or two, but and of course they're fighting all sorts of things right now, not just to do with payments, but to do with privacy online. And but the US sets, getting back to your main point, I actually think I don't know why I'm optimistic, but I'm very optimistic of a change in legislation to get de minimis exemption, so 500, 600, 700 euros, something like that, dollars, that fall nicely outside any tax reporting, and that will set the tone for the rest of the world. Countries maybe influence Europe, or some countries in Europe. You're right, Germany's great. There's no capital gains tax, I think, if you hold the asset for 1 year, and 2 years, I think, is Czech Republic, etc. There's sort of lots of different things. And that will really put it on the radar. The US needs to do it, and of course the US will immediately start spending in huge amounts, I think, as soon as that's lifted, because the passionate base in terms of holding base as a store of value is in the US. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, we'll follow that with great interest over the next months. Hopefully not too many years away. I think it's going to be months. I have this feeling they really want to give it a big boost. But
it depends. It depends. And as someone, I don't like any politician. I never think you should put any politician on a pedestal. Either side of the aisle. And I think where there's money to be made, and there's a reason that a lot of significant leaders are very close to the current administration at the moment, is because there's money to be made. And when there's money to be made, you see what happens. So, yeah, I don't see... I also think it's positive as well. It's a positive law. Even if you look at $300, like bringing something in that can increase over time, arguably that's the path. And since November, you've seen definitely a shift. And to answer the initial question as well, there's been a shift of more positivity, but with that positivity, there's also a lot of other actors that come into this, and they're very interested in number goes up and the investment side of it, which is not a negative. It's just a different point of view. And I think both point of views can happily coexist. I think that's the thing. It's not one or the other. And so we just need to build. That's it. Time to build. There's never been a better time to build. And if you're a developer right now and you're building an app, why wouldn't you add it? Even using the SDK. It's free, it's open source, and it's really easy to use.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how you see Breeze developing further the capabilities of the SDK. Are you getting any requests for any particular features over and above what you have right now, or is it just more of the same, even quicker and all that stuff?
No, so it's always evolving. In fact, since I joined last year, we've added, the nodeless implementation, the one that you use, didn't exist. That's a new product, right? Later this year, we have a new implementation arriving with Spark, another nodeless implementation. And all over time, new features are getting built. Earlier this summer, we added Bolt 12, and various different things that happen. And anyone can go to our GitHub again. It's all very public, and you can see our roadmap, and you can look through it. You can look at the current issues that have been submitted, etc. And just a lot being built. So the excitement is there, and I think what you're seeing, and this is the thing that I think a lot of people, when it comes to Lightning specifically, is Lightning was, and I wrote about this in the Bitcoin report that we did. Lightning was initially probably over-marketed and oversold, and the technology wasn't there initially. And this utopian world of using it specifically, like natively for payments, maybe wasn't just the one option. There's plenty, and the reason I possibly not explained this correctly, but the result is well explained, is that Lightning is the common language. That's what it's developed into, of this Bitcoin economy. It ties together all these new sub-networks, whether it's Spark, Arc, the Liquid network, and it seamlessly connects everyone together. And so that's the main thing. And so what we're seeing at Breeze right now is just more and more apps that are interested in adding Bitcoin, which is great. And it's great for me. I work on the marketing side, so I get to kind of celebrate. I always say this to the team, but I get to celebrate the team's successes. I don't get to build it. I get to shout about it. And the reason that I thoroughly enjoy it is because you see the feedback that we get, the partners that we have, and the kind of ethos that we're trying to put out there. And so, yeah, lots of fun updates. Anyone can go over to GitHub, check on us on Twitter, and I'm loving it, basically. I can honestly say it's one of the hardest, but one of the funnest and most rewarding times to work, because what we're trying to do is something that hasn't been done. We're up against a mammoth trillions and trillions of dollars of value locked up in a legacy system. We're trying to get people to move to a completely different way of thinking about how they move value. And yeah, it's never been more exciting.
Cool. I have some people put it on terminals where it's tap to pay, or
yeah, well,
Bolt.
So you can basically, it's very flexible how you can use the SDK. And that's one part of the beauties of it. And we're having people use it and build in different ways. Like yourselves, you had a unique way with it. I know that I think it's Bitpost are doing something quite interesting too. And so, yeah, and in fact, another company, Clever, actually are using the SDK within the swap engine. It's really interesting. And so maybe answering the question indirectly is the various different elements that are being built, and that's because of the flexibility of the tech. And so for us, hey, you want to build it, go for it, right? And so that's why we built Misty Breeze actually. So Misty Breeze is not a consumer-facing app that we're going to be marketing and scaling to everyone. This is a reference app. This is us telling other builders, hey, this is what you can make. Have fun. And I don't know if you guys use it, but it's pretty fun to use. And the other part of it is anyone can white label it. It's free and open source. If you wanted tomorrow, you could just slap your logo on it. Off you go. And obviously this bit Umi and our team, but there's things you can do there. So it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Misty Breeze, and it's super quick, of course, using with your SDK. Yeah, to pay for things. Cool.
Have you got any plans traveling somewhere in the world where there is some established Bitcoin community where you can pay with sats and everything else?
Personally, I haven't at the moment, but throughout my time kind of working within Bitcoin, I've been really fortunate to connect with various folks in different countries, which gives me a good overview of the global community, which I've loved. And whilst there are strong circular economies, I think that the main focus for me right now is safe to say that I want to bring everyone into the circular economy, which is a huge kind of task, right? Which is why we're focusing on every app. But some notable folks that I've just recently been speaking to that are worthy to shout out is like just seeing what's happening in various countries like Zambia, for example, the BitDevs community in Zambia. And it's less the circular economy that you're talking about, but more what they're trying to build on the ground from both training developers and educating folks. And I'm here for all of this work, whether you're in Sofia, whether you're in El Salvador, whether you're in New York, right? Like New York, I want to see it happening everywhere. So it doesn't really answer your question, but it gives you the kind of vibe that I'm interested in. And look, we've only scratched the surface, and this is something that we wrote in the report as well, is that early's an understatement, but traction is steep. So we're at the start of the hockey curve, and yeah, you're like, yes, you're seeing a lot of noise with other technologies, maybe like stable coins. They're just a medium-term hop to where we want to get to, and they serve a purpose for folks. But where we're going, it's going to be exciting.
I think I want to add just before we start wrapping up. I think it's a good time to start playing with these things. And as you did say, there are many circular economies, but we are still scratching the surface. Because in these circular economies, the first thing we see, people pay for stuff. But the second thing we want to see is these businesses paying to each other. And we hardly see that happening, to be blunt, to be honest. But that should start happening. We had a chat, we had a great podcast with Evelyn from Berlin where she said it's happening because its money is flowing there. Either you have dollars and it's El Salvador at the end of the day. But once these tax issues are being solved, we'll be there, and we'll be there that we've been playing around with this for a year or 2 years or 3 years, and we'll have a massive advantage because having the Breeze SDK in, being a platform where people can, accept Bitcoin, have the Bitcoin, then at some point of time pay, because you said taxes is a big challenge in the US, and that's true. But again, paying an invoice to another business and then putting that into the accounting is even bigger challenge. And it's weird, but thanks to Breeze, we have the opportunity to start playing in this sector and start understanding where the sats are flowing, who's got a bit more sats, to give them advices where to spend these sats. It's also important because they don't know in the beginning. So we need to tell them, okay, I know a couple of merchants that can print your business cards or bring some vegetables, and you can start rotating these sats. Maybe a bit off taxation, but it's a great experience to start seeing and to start experiencing the Breeze SDK as well.
I think you're on the money as well. Like, this is part of us learning, right? Like, so how do you break those? Everything you just discussed is elements of friction, and there are things that can be built to alleviate friction, and that's why there's never, again, to go back to the main premise, never been a better time to build. Like, literally, the tools are there, the opportunities there, and the technology's there. That is just like, if you were to literally look at a point of time, we're in it. And so the things that you guys are learning in Sophia and beyond, it is, you're seeing people's reactions, right? It's easy when a Bitcoiner sees, Michael Saylor say something and, they cheer and like, woohoo. But actually going to try and persuade someone, John and Jane Doe, and trying to get them to use Bitcoin is really interesting. And so you guys are finding that challenge in an experience that folks have every single day, which is eating. So you're getting all the learnings there. It's honestly, I don't think, if you're not excited and working in Bitcoin right now, hey, what are you up to, right? Because this is it. We've got the time to do it, and so yeah, I'm buzzing.
Fantastic. So
let's play around.
Yeah, play around. Yeah. And if anyone's watching this and they know of an app or are building an app or have an app, then really now you're right. Now's the time. The SDK's there. You could just plop it in, which we must do. We have a tourist app as well, a ski tourist app operating here in Banska. And we can just pop it in there and it's there. It probably won't get used massively initially, but, over time, it could well do. Who knows?
100%. You've literally got it. And the cool part of it is that people should go and they should speak with guys like yourselves. You're building this stuff. You're experiencing it every day. You're experiencing the issues. I remember we were talking about how, like, someone, the way to get in through the door is going through their brother or their sister and, talking to family so they can get trust. Like, all these challenges, right? And so you're learning them day in, day out. People should be listening, and I'm sure they are, which is good.
On that high note, I think we need to wrap up. We've had our half an hour or so. So is there anything that we should have asked that we haven't, Danny? Anything else you want to add to what we've just covered?
Just three things. If you go to breeze.technology, you can, on that website, you can go on the SDK tab to learn about the SDK, of which we have 2 implementations, native and nodeless. You can go on Misty and download the reference app, which is a reference app of nodeless. And the third one is you can look at the tab that says report. You can download our Bitcoin payments report, in which you can learn about adoption all around the world and circular economies, like you mentioned. So those are the 3 things that folks should have a look at. And the fourth thing is they should chat to you guys, because you guys are building it and experiencing it and having a good time doing it, I can see.
Absolutely. Right on. And we'll put those links in the show notes down below. Right. Well, it's early for you in New York, getting late certainly in Sofia, and we'll wrap up and wish you a fantastic time. We hope to see you in person. maybe in Pubkey in New York, which would be great. Spend some
sats there. We need to spend some
I
sats.
bought a cheeky old fashioned there. It was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I put on my Misty Breeze wallet. There we go.
Do they sell craft beer there at all?
I believe they do. I'm a Brit who doesn't drink beer, which is terrible, right?
Okay.
I'm the man who drinks. I'm like Del Boy. The fruitiest cocktails, everything with like umbrellas. That's unfortunately.
Well, you are from Essex, so you know.
Well, this is it. I'm practically from there, and I'm a West Ham fan, so I mean, it's all downhill from there.
No more comments on that. Right. Okay. Thanks again, Danny, and from Nasca and myself. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Thank you very much indeed, and see you again.
Thank you.